Today we have something a little different. As you all know, Akko recently released a wooden keyboard, which we rarely see nowadays. It's either aluminum or ABS. Today I have with me a resin keyboard, which used to be an extremely popular case option, but it slowly got a little less popular, kind of fell off. So let's see what Akko cooked up with. This is the Akko YU01. First impression, it's way heavier than I expected it to be. It's approximately 1.3 kilos or 2.8 pounds. And with the weight, the shape itself shows it's on the chunkier side. We have triple mode connection, wired, Bluetooth or 2.4 GHz. They're using the same Go USB port from the wooden keyboard, which I really like. And overall, it looks pretty dull as it is, but with resin cases, we tend to have RGB and it does make it look really nice. The keycaps have the same glossy finish just like the case and really brings the whole design together. But I'm definitely not a big fan of the font on these keycaps. So just as it is, here's how the keyboard sounds. So surprisingly, we have a very clacky keyboard. It has a very sharp and light sound profile. So for now, let's get into disassembly and take a look at our internals. Our pre-installed switches are the Akko V3 piano switches. They are an extremely popular switch from Akko. It sounds great stock and it is a 5-pin linear switch. Now, here's what caught me off guard. This keyboard uses a tray mount, which in 2024, I honestly expected a little bit more from Akko. I get it, you know, it's a resin case, it's like some sort of a one-piece kind of thing, so it's not easy to implement a gasket mount. But if I had to compare it to the wooden keyboard, the MU01, it was also some sort of a one-piece and they did manage to get it gasket mounted. So I felt like they could have implemented that sort of a design into this. I am a little disappointed that this is tray mounted, not gonna lie. So hopefully they make a V2 and it makes the improvement of getting into a gasket mount. But in terms of everything else, it's pretty decent. We have our standard 5-pin hot swappable PCB with perky RGB, our Bluetooth switch located below our caps lock, and it is VIA compatible. It's paired with a polycarbonate plate with pre-loop plate mounted stabilizers, and for dampening we have our case, PCB, plate and PE foam. In our case itself, we have our Bluetooth battery and a standard daughterboard. So now that we know what we're working with, let's do some upgrades. I have two of Akko's latest switches. So the two new switches from Akko, the Stella Rose and Mirror switches. These are the first ever Akko switches that are manufactured by HMX. To start, these are the Stella Rose switches. They come pre-looped, $28 for 90 pieces, a fair price. Akko's calling it their first deep clack switches, which I'm not too sure what that means, but we are about to find out. It has PA12 housing and a T5 stem. Actuating at 37 grams, they are pretty light switches. I am running the board without PE foam so that we can get a clearer sound on these switches. And for keycaps, I did decide to swap out to these JTK Rogues. I thought the glossy finish on the keycaps would match the board perfectly and give the board a little more color. So with the Stella Rose switches, here's how the keyboard sounds. It's definitely very clacky, alright, especially with 3 pieces of foam installed. I had the case, plate and PCB foam installed and it sounds still very clacky. Now, on to our next switch. These are the mirror switches. Similarly, $28 for 90 pieces, manufactured by HMX, but with a different purpose. The mirror switches are designed for foamless builds. It's supposed to reflect like this genuine keyboard sound, just without any foam. So for these switches, we have the PA12 top housing, modified nylon bottom housing, and a POK stem. So completely foamless, the Resin keyboard with the mirror switches. Here's how it sounds. So the mirror switches are pretty clacky, but it does sound a little deeper compared to the Stella Row switches. So for the final thoughts of this keyboard itself, I think it is pretty niche. At this current state of our keyboard community, I think unless you really like RGB and you really like how the keyboard looks, then you will love this keyboard. And the sound profile of it definitely leans towards the clackier side, but I'm pretty sure you can achieve a deeper sounding build with a different set of switches and maybe a different set of keycaps. The main thing that I would look out for is the tray mount. I definitely feel like they really missed out on the mounting on this keyboard. They definitely should have tried to make it gasket mounted. Now for the two new switches, the Stella Row switches are a pretty clacky switch. They sound great out of the box. If you like clacky switches, then it's manufactured by HMX, it's pretty good. But the mirror switches though, the mirror switches is probably my personal pick here because foamless builds are slowly getting more popular and the mirror switches does a really good job with foamless builds. So if you're interested in any of the products I have used, I will be linking them down below. We have come to the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts on the keyboard down below and the switches as well. Like this video if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you enjoyed my content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!